Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. That was super sweet of you. Is there an echo in here? I certainly hope not. I am visiting my parents this week, so that is why I am in an empty room here. This used to be my childhood bedroom, and now it's empty. But today's makeup and mental health topic is another very important one. If you missed my video last week, it was all about talking about how to start your journey towards being a better ally towards the Black Lives Matter movement and towards the Black community. And I'm sure I missed a lot of things in that video, but I just really wanted to make sure to use the small platform that I have to spread awareness about what's going on and to try to educate as much as I possibly can to try to be a better ally and try to contribute in any way possible, whether it's donating, signing petitions, showing up to protest, or streaming videos that are part of fundraisers, or just anything I possibly can do to support the Black Lives Matter movement, because it is of the utmost importance right now and has been of the utmost importance for hundreds and hundreds of years. But myself included and a lot of other people in the world are just starting to wake up to these sorts of issues that are going on and the racial disparities and inequalities that happen both in the beauty industry and in this country and in the world. So we are going to be continuing to talk about a similar topic today, but today I wanted to talk to you about feed fatigue. And if you haven't heard that term before, I hadn't either until very recently, but basically what feed fatigue is when you are looking at your news feed, you're looking at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everything, whatever social media you're on, and you're seeing all of the horrible things that are going on in the world. You're seeing a lot of videos of people being killed by police officers, Black people specifically being injured, killed, harassed, just terrible, terrible things, these terrible videos that are circulating. And after a few days of that, really after a few hours of that, you're probably familiar with the feeling of starting to feel that heaviness in your heart, starting to feel your throat tense up, starting to feel that anxiety set in. And first and foremost, I would like to acknowledge that I am incredibly privileged to be able to experience anxiety from witnessing racism rather than to actually experience racism. These feelings I'm feeling these last couple weeks are feelings that Black people live with constantly their entire lives. And I'm incredibly privileged to be experiencing this in the short term and experiencing this from an outside perspective, because I have not experienced racism in my life as a white woman. The anxiety I feel just witnessing it secondhand is so heavy, I cannot even imagine what it feels like to experience it head on. But it is still anxiety that I'm experiencing, and I think as people that are a part of the movement, as allies to the Black Lives Matter movement and allies to the Black community, we need to definitely be able to deal with that anxiety in order to be better allies. So I want to talk about feed fatigue today, and I hope that you will join in on the conversation with me. Hope you'll leave me a comment down below. I'm going to put a ton of resources to places that need your donations desperately down below. A lot of the places I put down below in my last video no longer need donations, so I'm going to be putting some awesome Black-led organizations down below. These earrings that I'm wearing today are from Mossy Bean on Instagram. She's doing an incredible fundraiser right now where 100% of the proceeds from all of the earrings she's selling in this collection are going towards Black-led organizations, and I think that's so great, so I'm definitely going to link that down below for you. And her earrings are so beautiful. Like, do you see these? Alright, so if you want to learn more about feed fatigue and start a conversation with me, then I hope that you will keep on watching. It's coming at you right now. Okay, so I know I briefly explained what I would define feed fatigue as, but I want to quote an Instagram creator named Sassy Latte. I love their Instagram page. They are a political creative. That's how they describe themselves. I think they're so cool. They posted a really helpful graphic for me, and the quote says, "I'm exhausted/overwhelmed." And they say, talking about racism isn't exhausting. Sharing space on your social media account isn't exhausting. It's actually the easiest thing that you can do. And do all of this without experiencing racism or re-traumatization or grief is a privilege. And they're absolutely right. You're incredibly privileged as white people to be witnessing racism rather than experiencing it head on. They go on to say, do some self-care, take a day off, and then get creative about ways to support the Black community and keep applying pressure. And I think that's so important because they're absolutely right. We are incredibly privileged to be witnessing this racism without having to experience the re-traumatization of Black people that have experienced this racism head on. So we have to keep that in perspective when we start to feel these feelings of anxiety. But additionally, our anxiety is also valid, and it is okay if you need to take a day off, but just like Sassy Latte said, the next day you need to come back and get creative about ways that you can help. If you're finding that you just scrolling Facebook endlessly all day is not helping and it's just making you feel really anxious, maybe you need to change your approach to how you can better support the Black community. Maybe online organizing on Facebook is not the right way for you. Maybe you need to go out in person and protest in person. That might be something that is more empowering and makes you feel that you are doing more work in that way. Maybe you just need to make donations. Maybe you need to donate supplies. Maybe that's where you have the most power. Maybe that's where you are contributing the best and is best for you as well. Correct me if I'm wrong in saying this, but I don't think there's a right or wrong way to help the Black community and to be an ally. I mean, of course, there's a wrong way to be an ally because you could be a self-serving ally, but I think as long as you are helping, as long as you are positively contributing, and as long as you're not remaining silent, you are doing something positive for the community, and that is good. And like Sassy Latte said, if you need to take a day off to completely remove yourself, take that day, but make sure you come back with vengeance. Make sure you don't stay quiet forever, because we need your voice. We need you to be an ally. The more people we have, the more power we have. And we need everybody desperately to stand with the Black Lives Matter movement and to raise your voices, because we are seeing positive change coming from this. Don't let anybody tell you the protesting and raising your voice and arguing and pressuring your senators does not work, because it works. And I'm gonna read off just a few things for you that these protests have already accomplished. On May 26, 4 officers were fired for murdering George Floyd. Not just Derek Chauvin, who was the one who actually put his foot on George Floyd's neck, but the other 3 officers as well. The 3 officers that were bystanders were fired and are having charges pressed against them. That is awesome. On 5/28, the University of Minnesota canceled their contract with the police. On 5/29, the Louisville mayor suspends the no-knock warrants in response to the police's March 12th Breonna Taylor killing and subsequent protest. Breonna Taylor, if you don't know, was murdered by police officers. They broke into her house. They suspected it was a drug ring, or they thought that this house was suspicious of some sort of drug activity. She was sleeping in her bed and they shot her 8 times, and they had what was called a no-knock warrant, which means that they don't need to announce themselves before breaking and entering into their home. So the Louisville mayor suspended no-knock warrants. That's huge. Of course, that doesn't fix everything, but that's something that didn't exist a couple weeks ago, and now it does. On June 1st, the Minneapolis Public Schools ended their contract with the police. On June 1st, the Confederate monument was removed from Birmingham, Alabama. That's huge. The Robert E. Lee statue was removed. Robert E. Lee was the face of the Confederate Army. He was the face of racism in the South during the Civil War, and his statue was removed. That is huge. On June 1st, the Louisville police chief was fired after shooting David McAtee at a barbecue joint in Louisville, Kentucky. That's huge. That was a horrible thing that he did, and I'm gonna link a link down to David McAtee's memorial fund down below. There's a GoFundMe for him, but the police chief was fired after that. How many times have people lost their lives, Black people lost their lives to police violence, and no consequence have suffered from that? And the police chief is fired. That is huge, and that's definitely something to celebrate. On June 2nd, there was a resolution to prevent law enforcement from hiring officers with a history of misconduct announced by San Francisco DA and supervisor in San Francisco, California. That's huge. There are so many police officers who have prior examples of misconduct, and nothing happens to them, and then they go on to kill people. So the fact that there's now a law that makes it so that you cannot hire officers with prior misconduct, that's something huge, and that's something to celebrate. So those are just a few examples of things that were accomplished by protesting, and were accomplished by raising our voices and pressuring our senators and making it known that this is not just a trend. Black Lives Matter is not just a trend that's a couple of black squares on your Instagram profile. This is something we're not giving up on until there is racial equality in this country. Another great post, you guys have to follow Sassy Latte on Instagram. They are so great and they have given me so many excellent resources. I'm gonna link them down below because great person to follow. But they posted something great yesterday that was 5 ways to permanently incorporate solidarity with the Black community into your feed and on your social media. And I thought this was incredibly helpful, and they provided some really easy and effective ways to show solidarity. So I'm gonna share them with you. The first one was to feature a Black creator in your niche. Even if you're not an influencer or a beauty YouTuber like me and you don't have like a niche or whatever, you can still feature Black creators on your feed that you follow. Who do you follow that is a Black creator? That's awesome. Don't you want to share that with the world? And if you don't have Black creators that you follow that are awesome, I'm gonna link a million of them down below because I have a ton of them, Sassy Latte being one of them, of course. But definitely making sure to use whatever size platform you have to uplift the voices of Black creators in your community, and that's a great thing that you can do. Another thing they said is to feature Black-owned businesses. I just did a video on Monday. If you haven't seen it, I tried out 2 Black-owned beauty brands, Menton Cosmetics and the Lip Bar. I'll link it somewhere on the screen. But feature Black-owned businesses on your social media, and not only feature them, buy from them. There's so many amazing Black-owned businesses, both in the beauty community and in the fashion industry and in all sorts of other industries. So definitely do your research on some Black-owned businesses. I'll put a big link down below. I know so many people have written awesome articles featuring a bunch of them. We need to make a greater change more than just now. Don't just buy something from a Black-owned brand this week because it's trendy and because everyone on Instagram or Twitter is doing it. Make that a permanent change in your life. Of course, you can always buy from TGI Fridays if you want. I don't know, I was trying to think of a really white thing, but you know, try to incorporate more Black-owned businesses into your everyday purchases. The Honey Pot is a great example. They make pads and tampons, and they make all sorts of products for people who get periods and for people that have vaginas, and it's just a really, and even people that don't, they're just a really great brand, and that's something, that's one right there that you can support. Go on Twitter. People on Twitter have been sharing such amazing resources for Black-owned businesses. I just followed an account on Instagram called Black_owned_everything. And I'm gonna link them down below. The whole point of this Instagram account is just to share Black-owned brands so that you can continue to support these brands for now and forever. So I'll definitely link those resources down below for you, but that's another great thing that you can make a permanent change in your life and on your social media. And another thing that Sassy Latte said that you can do is use your caption space /IGTV/stories efficiently. Talk about what you have learned in your anti-racism education. Share tools and resources. Start your journaling and self-discovery. Take notes on what you are learning as you go so you're more likely to retain that information. Discuss making amends publicly to encourage others to do the same. Share where you've donated to and how much. Money shouldn't be a taboo. That last one I feel like I agree with, but I know definitely I myself have like had to really think like, is this self-serving to share how much money I've donated? Like, will this really inspire other people to donate? But I think that it does, and I think it's okay, and you don't need to feel bad. If you can only afford to donate $10 right now, that's still $10 that you're putting into a good organization that's going to make positive change in the community. And I think it is worth sharing. When I see a friend donate to an organization, I am like, ooh, that's so great, and I like this person so much and they donated to that organization. I want to click on this organization. I want to figure out what they stand for, and I want to donate too. So I definitely think it is good to share where you've donated to and how much, because I think they're right. Money shouldn't be taboo. I feel like everything I've said is still on topic with the feed fatigue, but I do want to bring it back to that real quick. All of those methods that I have shared from Sassy Latte are to encourage you to make permanent changes on your social media. If you're having feed fatigue because you feel like you're spending your whole day watching videos of police brutality and watching videos of people get hurt, and that's really weighing on your soul, change the way you're doing things on your social media. Try some of these tips that Sassy Latte has so graciously given us. Promote Black creators, support Black-owned businesses, make donations to Black-led organizations. There's things you can do without having to watch videos of police violence, and I do think they're important to see, because I think it's important that we are aware of what Black people have been aware of since they were brought to this country as slaves, which is that we do not have equality in the United States, and we need to keep fighting until we do have racial equality. So I think seeing those videos is important because it's educational. And we are very lucky to live in an age of technology where people actually have videos of this, because it just goes to show you that years and years and years ago, before we had camera phones, a lot of this stuff definitely went unchecked, and that sucks. Watch those videos. Don't watch them over and over again. Don't torture yourself. Once you've seen them, let that encourage you, let that ignite a fire in you to take action and to keep supporting the Black community and to keep supporting Black Lives Matter, because silence is complicity, and we need to all raise our voices, and we need to not shut up about it, because we've already seen that by not shutting up about it, we have incited positive change in this country, and we need to take it even further. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please leave me a comment down below. Feel free to check me if you feel that I've said anything that is incorrect or anything that has misled you or not made sense. I'm happy to clarify anything down below, and I'm happy to have a greater discussion. So I appreciate you so much for watching this video, and I hope that you're taking care of yourself. Make sure to check on your Black friends. I think it's hard to just reach out and to say, how are you? Because you can probably assume that they are going through a lot and that their mental health is probably not at its best. But I think a good question that you can say is, I understand that you're going through a lot right now. What can I do for you? What do you need? Can I buy you dinner? Can I send you food? Do you need money? Do you need just to vent? Like, be there for them. Be a good friend and be an ally to the Black community and the Black Lives Matter movement. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.